Hey there, gamers. Welcome back to Gamer Girls Radio, and I am your illustrious host, Gaminatrix, and today we're going to be sneaking into the intriguing world of stealth games. Now, before we get started, one note, so sorry for our absence. We are in Texas where we've experienced the horrible storm barrel or hurricane barrel. So we ask two things of you. If you are able to donate to any charity that's going to help the families that have been displaced or suffered power outages like ourselves, please feel free to do so. Make sure you check them out first. And for us specifically, if you could help us out, nice little thumbs up, little like, little subscription helps us out a lot so we can continue to bring you content even when we don't have power. We do have power now. We're finally back. Didn't mean to stay gone from you guys this long. We had two back-to-back storms, like really serious storms that kind of knocked us out of commission. So we got a backlog of videos. We hope you enjoy this one. Now, back to our stealth games. I want you to picture it. Sneaking past guards, avoiding detection, and pulling off epic takedowns without a sound. We're going to be taking a trip down memory lane with some classic stealth games and explore why this beloved genre seems to be losing its stealthy touch. So get ready to uncover the mystery behind the fading allure of stealth games. Shh! But first, scared you, didn't I? Went all loud. Some of you are like, yeah, I love little audio trick. Okay, so but first we want to give a shout out to our sponsor and sister site, The Pink Controller. They have the coolest, most fabulous female-centric gamer and anime gear. Got a few things there for some guys too. Got a few guys pick up a few things. Now, whether you want to game in style or show off your anime fandom, The Pink Controller has got you covered. Seriously, some of that stuff is so cute. Makes me want to wear something other than sweatpants. Almost, right, Gladys? All right, so let's get back to it. Stealth games. They've been a cornerstone of the gaming industry, captivating players with their strategic gameplay and tense moments. So from the iconic Thief series to the groundbreaking Metal Gear Solid series, these games have carved out a niche for themselves over the years. But why is it that stealth games are finding themselves overshadowed in today's gaming landscape? That's the burning question we're going to try to answer or unravel here. So let's kick things off by revisiting the golden age of stealth games and what made these games so irresistible to players. Well, for starters, the thrill of outsmarting your enemy, the satisfaction of completing a mission undetected, and the immersive storytelling that kept us on the edge of our seats, right? So first up, we're going to talk about Thief. Now, for those of you who are youngins and never played these games, we're going to be giving you a little brief description of each game and what they were about. Cover some basics here. So Thief is a series of stealth video games in which the player took the role of Garrett, master thief in a fantasy steampunk world that resembles a cross between the late Middle Ages and the Victorian era, with some more advanced technologies kind of interspersed. The series consists of Thief, the Dark Project from 1988, Thief 2, The Metal Age in 2000, Thief, Deadly Shadows 2004, and Thief 2014. An expanded version of Thief, the Dark Project titled Thief Gold was released in 1999 and features 3 extra maps and a number of bug fixes. Now, this is where I come in. This is one of the first stealth games I ever played, and I had Thief Gold. I still have it somewhere here. So side quest. I love when I do that. Side quest. This game was the beginning of all sorts of fabulousness for me. Actually, let me save that side quest for a later game because there's kind of 2 of these stealth games that came to me at the same time. So I want to get them both together or wrap it up at the end. So anyway, Thief was done by Looking Glass. Am I saying that right, Gladys? Looking Glass Studios? Okay, yeah. Looking Glass Studios developed both the Dark Project and the Metal Age. So after the studio had gone out of business in 2000, many former employees moved to Ion Storm, and they began developing a third-party series, Deadly Shadows. Now, Eidos Montreal was subsequently given the reins for Thief, and the Thief series has always been very well received by critics. Okay, so it's, again, a little more background. It was set in a first-person... I can't talk every time. That in a mainly first-person perspective with a 3D environment, and the main gameplay tactic of the Thief series is to avoid fights. You're going to stealthily traverse the environment to complete specific objectives. Instead of fight the enemies, you sneak around the enemies or discreetly subdue them, all without raising too much noise or suspicion. And the Thief games are sometimes described as either like first-person sneakers or sneak-em-ups or first-person looters to kind of emphasize the difference from other game types. And now, the Thief franchise, while very, very beloved by many for its pioneering stealth gameplay, has faced several issues over the years, as you'll see with many games we talk about on the list. Some of the notable problems are like the development challenges. To start off with, the development of Thief Deadly Shadows and the 2014 reboot Thief faced numerous development challenges, changes in technology and management at the development studios. This led to some significant delays and alterations in the game's vision, which impacted the final product. Also, the 2014 reboot, Thief, received mixed reviews. So many longtime fans, including myself, felt it failed to capture the spirit of the original games, with criticisms aimed at the story, the character development, and some of the gameplay mechanics that felt more restrictive when compared to previous titles. You also had the 2014 Thief reboot. This is the one that seems like it just really hurt things. Also suffered from technical problems, including bugs, performance issues, and graphical glitches. And these issues detracted from the immersive experience that the franchise is known for. Also, in an attempt to appeal to a broader audience, the 2014 reboot simplified many of the core mechanics that defined the original games, which happens to a lot of the games on this list, basically trying to, hate to say it, dumb it down, like such as the light and shadow system and the complexity of the levels. And this alienated many of the fans, myself included, who appreciated the depth and the challenge of the earlier titles. Also, finally, for Thief, the narrative and the characterization in the 2014 reboot were often criticized for being underdeveloped and lacking the intrigue and the depth of the original games. The protagonist, Garrett, was seen as less compelling, more generic compared to how he's portrayed in earlier games. And these issues have contributed to somewhat of a mixed legacy for the Thief franchise. So despite its influential status in the stealth genre, could this maybe be why the genre has suffered? Maybe. We're going to investigate a little further. That's not enough to go on. So, sorry guys, my AC just kicked on. Love living in Texas. So we're going to move on to Metal Gear Solid. So, anybody out there remember Metal Gear Solid? Some of you are like, of course. Some of you are like, Metal Gear who? So, basically, you sneak around as Solid Snake, hide in some boxes, use some gadgets to outwit your enemies. Metal Gear truly has cult classic status, one of my favorites. Now we can do the side quest. So this game was actually, I can't really remember if it was Thief or this one was my first introduction, but I have a beautiful story attached to Metal Gear Solid of gamer love. I want to inject a little bit of that in now because we're just kind of crazy around here in the US. So I have a chronic illness that I was diagnosed with when Metal Gear Solid came out. And I had a friend, we are no longer friends, but if you're listening out there, Sarah, I'm not going to say her last name, please do not dox this woman. Sarah really helped pick me up when I first was diagnosed with this illness, because I was like, life is over, sitting at home on a rainy day, sick on my couch, got a knock at the door, UPS guy opened the door, he hands me this box big enough for me to climb into if I wanted to and sit in it. Opened it up, and in it is a PlayStation, the first PlayStation. The box is filled with games, but on the top there, the first thing I saw was Metal Gear Solid. So I popped it in, connected up the PlayStation, not in that order obviously, and got totally hooked. Was the first time I played a game that was aware of the player. I remember gasping in delight, felt so much better. Happiness is really good for any illness that you have, give you a nice little serotonin boost. And I remember sneaking around the tutorial, one of those little, I don't remember what it was, power center or something, but I remember leaving footprints and then hearing the guy say, whose footprints are these? And then I hit something, and you guys know what I heard next. What was that noise? Yes, love me some Metal Gear Solid. So, despite, of course, Metal Gear's also critical acclaim, it had its own issues over the years. One of the most significant issues was the fallout between the series creator Hideo Kojima and Konami. Sorry for the pronunciation. I am not a Japanese speaker, doing my best. The disagreement disagreements that they had led to Kojima's departure from the company in 2015, which many people believe negatively impacted the series' future. Also, after his departure, Konami released Metal Gear Survive, which is a spin-off that was widely panned and criticized for straying from the series' roots. The game's focus was on survival mechanics and microtransactions. That dirty word was poorly received by the fans and critics alike. Also, the narrative of the Metal Gear series is notoriously convoluted, featuring intricate plots, numerous characters, and extensive lore. And this complexity could have been kind of off-putting to newcomers. I imagine that it would be. And it's challenging for longtime fans like myself to follow. Also, several entries in the series, particularly Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. Was it Phantom Pain? I feel like I got wrong notes here. Don't correct me down in the notes, because I think I researched this one and I might have written down something. But anyway, it experienced some protracted and troubled development. It was released with significant portions of the story unfinished, leading to a series of incompleteness. And I did not play this one. I think I stopped whenever Raiden. Yeah, I was not happy about Raiden. Alright, so and also, finally, the inclusion of microtransactions and the controversial DLC practices later in the game, particularly in Metal Gear Solid 5, led to backlash from the fans who felt the series was being monetized in ways that detracted from the core experience. I completely agree. And these issues have had varying impacts on the franchise's reputation and the satisfaction of its fan base. Now, I can't say this game or any of them are why the stealth genre is dying, but did not help. So questions still on the table. Why did this happen? So to kind of start down the path of explaining why, we're not talking about stealth games. There's many more we're going to mention. Well, not many. We don't have all day. But we'll circle back to a few here in a second. So in recent years, what we've been witnessing is a shift in game development trends. So the industry is kind of leaning more towards action-packed, fast-paced gameplay that caters to a wider audience. This shift has left stealth games kind of struggling to compete, and developers are opting for a more straightforward approach to game design. So as a result, stealth genre has taken a back seat. It's kind of overshadowed by its more action-oriented cousins. So it's kind of like we're all trying to throw a stealth party, but everybody showed up with confetti cannons and air horns. So it's not quite the vibe that we're going for. So the developers are facing a daunting challenge in creating successful stealth games in today's market. Trying to balance realism with player engagement is no easy feat. You know, guys, we're very dev heavy here, so we understand the plight of the developer. Players do crave adrenaline-fueled action and instant gratification. Not all gamers, but any gamers that play these types of games. And this makes it difficult for stealth games to find their footing. Finding the right balance between challenge and accessibility is the key to reviving the genre, we think. And it's going to be tricky, but it's not impossible. So despite these challenges, there have been a few glimmers of hope in the form of a few recent stealth games that have dared to innovate. Titles like, some of you are going to totally fan out, Hitman and Dishonored. They've kind of breathed new life into the genre with some fresh mechanics and engaging narratives. I only played Hitman for 4 or 5 minutes. Just didn't really interest me. There's nothing wrong with it, just didn't interest me. The story didn't interest me. Dishonored, however, I just started playing, about 4 or 5 months ago, on and off. Love it. Fabulous. So those of you who don't know about Hitman, you play as Agent 47, a bald assassin who somehow makes barcode tattoos look really cool. The game offers a sandbox. All this heat's getting to me. The game offers a sandbox experience where you can use disguises, gadgets, and environmental interactions to eliminate targets in very creative ways. And Dishonored, it's kind of like someone mashed up a Victorian detective novel with a supernatural thriller, and it is glorious. You play as Corvo Atano, an assassin with supernatural powers, sneaking through a beautifully grim world and exacting revenge. And these games have garnered praise from both players and critics alike, proving that there's still a place for stealth games in the gaming world. So now, I already know some of you are screaming, Assassin's Creed, what about Assassin's Creed? Shh, let's talk about it. Quiet. Shh, we're being stealthy today. So the Assassin's Creed franchise is the cornerstone of the stealth genre. It blends historical narratives with engaging gameplay mechanics. So it launched all the way back in 2007. Some of you were not even born. And since then, it has redefined the stealth genre, blending historical fiction with open world exploration. The series follows the age-old conflict between the Assassins and the Templars, two factions that are vying for control over powerful artifacts known as Pieces of Eden. Players assume the role of various assassins across historical periods, utilizing stealth, parkour, and a rich array of gadgets to eliminate targets and uncover hidden truth. But the series started with Altair Ibn Lad, sorry if I mispronounced that, and it's in the Holy Land during the Third Crusade. And since then, it has taken us through various pivotal moments in history. So all the way from the Renaissance with Ezio Auditore in Italy, to the American Revolution with Connor Kenway, and even the ancient worlds of Egypt and Greece with Bayek and Cassandra. Each game immerses players in a meticulously crafted historical setting. And yes, I'm aware there's a new Assassin's Creed coming out, but I am not going to get into that one either. Some of you are having a whole fan girl and boy moment. You're either really happy about it or sad about it, but we're not going to comment on it. If you don't like it, don't play it. If you love it, buy it. That's what we're going to say to you. So one of the defining features of Assassin's Creed is its emphasis on open world exploration. So each game immerses players in beautifully recreated historical settings from Renaissance Italy to revolutionary France, allowing them to engage in parkour, blending into crowds, navigating complex environments with ease. The franchise is also known for its eagle vision, which helps players identify targets and objectives in a stealthy manner. Some of you are like, I know all this. If you know all this, fabulous. Some people don't. They may play only cozy games, but may be interested in knowing what is it so special about Assassin's Creed. So now at the heart of Assassin's Creed is its innovative stealth gameplay. The series introduced the concept of blending into crowds and using social stealth to evade your guards and complete missions undetected. Parkour also plays a huge role, allowing assassins to traverse rooftops and scale walls to find the perfect vantage point. Players can choose various approaches to compelling missions, from stealthily assassinating enemies to utilizing distraction tactics or engaging in combat. And the choice between lethal and non-lethal methods often can influence a story and your reputation as a player. And one of the most iconic moves is the leap of faith, which for some reason always makes my stomach do that flip-flop thing. I am one of those people that is afraid of heights. That is why I am a tiny woman. I was not meant to be tall. I was not meant to be a supermodel. Okay, so this daring dive off of a tall structure into a conveniently placed haystack not only serves as a fast travel mechanism, but also embodies the fearless nature of assassins, which I do love though. Now, over the years, the franchise has evolved, introducing things like RPG elements, crafting mechanics, and even multiplayer modes, which I ventured into once and got my butt handed to me. I don't know who this girl was, but I remember very vividly seeing her beautiful dress and her boots as she kicked me in the face. Of course, this is all the while maintaining its stealth roots. With numerous mainline games, spin-offs, and adaptations, Assassin's Creed continues to captivate players, offering a rich tapestry of lore, action, and strategy. Now, the Hidden Blade, which is my absolute favorite, because the signature weapon of the Assassins is designed for silent takedowns. So over the years, the franchise has expanded its arsenal with tools like poison darts, smoke bombs, and the Phantom Blade, kind of enhancing the stealth experience. So Assassin's Creed games also feature interactions with a lot of historical figures, blending kind of real history and fictional history. I lost my train of thought. That's what I get. So anyway, this unique storytelling approach has become a kind of a hallmark of the series. As the franchise has evolved, so has its approach to stealth. So recent entries like Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Valhalla incorporate RPG elements, giving players more freedom in how they approach each mission, whether through stealth, combat, or diplomacy. So guess what? Assassin's Creed, highly popular and influential, still had several issues over the years. So the biggest one, from 2009 to 2015, Ubisoft released an Assassin's Creed game every single year. And this annual release schedule led to a sense of fatigue among players and critics, with concerns about the declining innovation and quality. And I am in full agreement with that, because I tell you, I usually buy a lot of Assassin's Creed games. There's a few I haven't touched. I don't know what the hell's going on in the franchise. Just kind of try to take them as a standalone, because I'm really confused. I played the first two and finished them, and anybody who knows me knows I generally don't finish games because I'm busy. If I finished your game, it's really, really good. But after that, I kind of lost track, although I do have a thing for it. All right, so the next issue that they had was like technical issues and bugs. So several entries in the series, particularly Assassin's Creed Unity, were plagued by technical issues and bugs right at launch. Unity was notorious for its graphical glitches at the time, other problems more recently, performance problems, and numerous bugs which damaged the game's reputation and led to widespread criticism. I don't know why I just kind of mixed up Assassin's Creed Unity with the Unity engine just then. Did you catch that? Okay, so Assassin's Creed Unity and the Unity engine, two different things, but both of them are having problems, amazingly enough. All right, some critics also and players have pointed out that the gameplay mechanics can become repetitive with similar mission structures and objectives across multiple titles, and this has sometimes led to a feeling of monotony in the series, and I can vouch for that as well from the first two. I can tell you I tested once just to see how long can I hold off the bad guys without me killing them and them killing me, and it was infinite. Finally, I was just like, let me just take them out and get this over with and move along. But it's very monotonous, especially to someone who recognizes patterns and things. Some of you, if you like these types of games, probably do. So you're bored after, fighting off the guards for like 15 minutes straight, and they're not giving you any kind of challenge. So the overarching narrative of Assassin's Creed series, involving the conflict between the Assassins and Templars, as well as the modern day storyline, has become increasingly complex and convoluted. This has made it challenging for new players to jump into the series, and for longtime fans to keep track of all the plot details, which I just said, oh my gosh, I'm so lost. Also, the more recent titles like Assassin's Creed Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla have shifted more towards RPG mechanics and open world exploration, and sometimes this is at the expense of the traditional stealth gameplay that originally defined the series. Now, while this has brought in new fans, it has also alienated some of us longtime players who preferred the franchise and its earlier focus on stealth and assassination. Also, the introduction of the evil M-word, microtransactions, and extensive DLC content in the later games has been a serious point of contention. Some players feel that these practices detract from the overall experience, and that the certain features or content should have been included in the base game in the first place rather than sold separately. Stop trying to dig in my pockets, Ubisoft. Also, finally, the quality of Assassin's Creed game has varied significantly between titles. While some entries have been critically acclaimed, others have been kind of lackluster, disappointing, and this leads to an uneven reputation for the series. Now, you don't think I forgot Splinter Cell? Yeah, this is one of my top 10 all-time favorites. So the Splinter Cell franchise, also from Ubisoft, is the hallmark of stealth gaming that follows the story of Sam Fisher. He's a highly skilled and highly sexy, oh God, I loves me a man with a gravelly voice, operative working for the National Security Agency's secretive third echelon. Splinter Cell is known for its tactical gameplay, its innovative mechanics like the use of shadows and light, and gripping narratives. See a theme here with stealth games. It's definitely left a lasting impact on the genre, and Fisher was originally voiced by veteran actor Michael Ironside. Some of you young ones are like, I don't know who that is. So some of you, you older gamers, if you know a younger gamer, each one teach one. You may know him from the original Total Recall movie, or more recently the show Smallville, or even more up to date, the Hulu miniseries The Dropout. So he was Sam in the first 5 installments, and the 5 best ones, if you ask me, of the entire series. Now in 2013 is when I dipped out. They brought in Eric Johnson to provide the voice and the motion capture for the character in Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell Blacklist. I'm sorry, I'm an Ironside fan. This other guy's voice just wasn't gravelly. It didn't do it for me. So Ironside did later return in the role in 2018. He also participated in crossover downloadable content for Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands, and again in 2020 for Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Breakpoint. I didn't play any of those because Ghost Recon, that's a whole other video. We'll talk about that another time. Okay, he was also added as a playable character in Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, which I do still love, voiced by Jeff Teravainen, I hope I'm saying that right, and also as a supporting character in Captain Laserhawk, a Blood Dragon remix, which was voiced by Nigel Barber. I almost said Nigel Barber. That's it. Top model guy. Nigel Barker is. Alright, so despite the success in the series, this faced challenges again, including inconsistent releases, shifts in the gameplay focus. Before I go down the rest of the list here and tell you its other problems, I'm going to tell you my biggest problem with the last one was something that we've kind of mentioned throughout the list is the dumbing down of the game. Anybody who loves a stealth game loves the complexity and all that it entails to get through the game, figure out a way to get through the game. One of the things that myself and anybody who played with me, there are a lot of my homies out there, we played Splinter Cell together, co-op or separate, was that you are trying to stealthily do a headshot. I had gotten good at doing it with a pistol. By the time we get to the last iteration in 2015, there's a button code I have to press. I have to go through AA, up, down, left, right in order to do this shot, when before I just had to aim and tap. So I really didn't like the dumbing down of it. So back to the other challenges. The franchise has seen very long gaps between mainline entries, which led to concerns about the future and the gameplay, or the players' interest in it waning over time. Later entries, such as Splinter Cell Conviction, moved towards a more action-oriented style, which disappointed fans seeking the classic stealth experience, which is what I was just talking about. Also, while the franchise introduced multiplayer modes, these were often underwhelming or failed to capture a significant player base, detracting from the series' core stealth identity. I'm going to circle back to that one in a minute and tell you why I think that is. Also, technical issues. Some titles suffer from bugs, technical problems at launch affecting the overall gameplay experience, and the franchise, lastly, has not received the same level of marketing and support as other Ubisoft franchises, leading to reduced player visibility and engagement. That's exactly where I was going with this, is that a lot of the features, especially when it came to multiplayer, I don't ever remember seeing them advertised. Like Pandora Tomorrow, I thought was particularly innovative in that playing multiplayer online. A 2v2 was wonderful. I love the co-op. My former web developer, we used to stay up and play the co-op all night. One of the features I really loved is that when we would try to talk to each other in the headset, the NPCs could also hear. So that, forced us to be more strategic and stealthy and trying to hide. And if we got separated from each other, like, hey, where are you? Kind of stuff. I love that. And being able to play 2v2 with a multiplayer, and the only time the other team can hear you is if you're talking, or if you manage to grab them so that you could, snap a neck, because that was a thing in Splinter Cell. Those are things that they never advertised that I think players would have absolutely loved. But I digress. So we're going to wrap this present up with some answers. Now, there is no one answer why this is happening. The decline of stealth games can be attributed to many key factors. So we kind of covered some of these. The gaming market has shifted more towards the fast-paced, action-oriented games that appeal to the broader audience. Stealth games often require patience and strategic thinking, and this can be seen as more niche and less accessible to the mainstream market. Some people just, they don't want to think about the game, they just want to get in and run and gun, and then that's it. And there's nothing wrong with that, but some of us like a little bit more complexity. So sometimes people just don't feel like giving you complex. So creating compelling and balanced stealth gameplay can be challenging for developers. They need to design intricate AI behaviors, complex level designs, and mechanics that reward stealthy gameplay without frustrating players. And this can require more developer time and resources when compared to other genres, and also budget may not allow for those things. So many of the modern games, they kind of incorporate stealth elements into other genres, which I don't necessarily like, such as action adventure or RPGs. So rather than focusing solely on stealth, this blending of genres can dilute the pure stealth experience, but it also kind of broadens the appeal of stealth mechanics for some people that haven't played those types of games before. Also, players' tastes and preferences have evolved. So there's a growing interest in open world games, multiplayer experiences, and games with high replay value. Stealth games, which are more often than not linear and narrative driven, may not align with evolving preferences of gamers nowadays. But I think it can be done, like we said, not impossible. And finally, stealth games, due to their niche appeal, may not generate quite as much revenue as a blockbuster action title, like a Call of Duty or why can't I think of the name of the game? I'm just gonna be quiet because my brain went totally blank. Y'all know the game I'm talking about, the Battle Royale ones. Ugh, I'm not a fan of those, that's why I can't remember the name. I should know the name. Oh, bad Corey. All right, so since they don't generate as much money, the financial consideration can kind of deter developers and publishers from investing in pure stealth games. So they opt instead for genres with a higher commercial potential, which is a shame. Stealth games, design and playing is definitely an art. So while the future of the genre may seem uncertain, there is always potential for a revival. By staying true to the core elements that make stealth games so captivating and embracing innovation, developers can in fact breathe new life into the genre. Who knows? We might see a resurgence of stealth games in the near future. Or maybe we'll all just keep hiding in boxes, waiting for the right moment to strike. All right, so fellow gamers, what is your favorite stealth game? Is there one that I missed that you really, really wanted me to talk about, or that you really, really loved, or do you want me to check out? Because I haven't played them all, obviously. Mention a few below. Tell me in the comments. Also, let us know if there's something that you would like us to explore in a future video. These videos take a while for us to research, but I really enjoy researching. Class does too. And also, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more content, and ring the bell so you can stay updated. Hit the bell. And also one last shout out to the Pink Controller for sponsoring today's episode. Remember to check out the awesome gaming and anime gear there. And until next time, stay stealthy, gamers. Stay. Give me a kiss out. How'd I do, guys?